All right, here we go. This message is for the government of Jamaica about the recent situation with the hurricane. Man, you all fucked up. You fucked up not because you don't care about the people, but you fucked up because you couldn't find a cohesive strategy in the immediate aftermath of the hurricane. I think you know this too, Mr. Prime Minister, because the media reports you as saying the relief effort started off a little slow, which frankly is the understatement of the goddamn year. Now, before we get into this any further, I must say this. I am Jamaican. I'm 100% Jamaican, born and raised. And like many of us, I went to the US as a teenager and I've been here for several decades. I have not stopped being Jamaican. And frankly, no one reps Jamaica more than a Jamaican not living on the island, especially those of us who've been abroad for 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or more years. I bleed black, green, and gold, and I've consistently done my part to advance the Jamaican culture. I'm in Jamaica regularly. I send money to Jamaica regularly, and most of my major life experiences as an adult have been celebrated in Jamaica. Furthermore, like many of us abroad, I stay plugged into what is happening in Jamaica on an almost daily basis. So, my praise or my criticism of the current situation, it has standing. It has standing because of my birthright, and it has standing because of my fierce love for the nation. So, with that said, I want to bomb Claudenado. You guys are fucking this shit up majorly. What is clear to me is that this government has lost a key tool at its disposal. That is the management of the narrative. In the aftermath of a major crisis, true leadership must be firmly centered around a few things. One, it must be centered around the immediate well being of the people. Two, you must have clear communications. Three, you must have adaptability. And I'll throw a fourth in there. You must have empathy and connection to the people that you're serving. Now, in all four of these things, you're found to be alarmingly underperforming government of Jamaica. I'll tell you this, though. The Minister of Energy and Transport has emerged as perhaps the only one in the government who seems to have a firm grasp of what crisis leadership means. Not just leadership, but leadership in a crisis setting. That man was out there in the hours after this thing looking firm and looking authoritative. But more importantly, he was being visible and he was being present. Now, I know he might be reluctant to accept the accolades because doing so would probably make his boss look bad, but he gave people much of what the prime minister was not giving. At least he wasn't giving in the early days. The prime minister wasn't. What Vaz gave, man, was hope. Know this, long before the food trucks and the tents and the supplies and the relief reached the communities, you have to start giving people hope. And it's not just hope for those who are cut off in the flood ravaged areas, but it's also hope for the many of us, and there are many, the families abroad who are sometimes sitting helplessly, hoping the government will get to our stranded family members in time. Hope doesn't always come in a care package, man. It doesn't always come in a case of water or however many foreign planes and helicopters land at Norman Manley Airport. Hope sometimes comes in your words and your presence, your visibility and empathy, and your ability to connect with people on a basic human level. I saw a video of Spice where she was comforting the one lady with the young baby who lost her home. I saw a video of a popular blogger, Carla Simith, who was out there with the local people clearing bamboo and branches and stones and trees from the roads from Castletown to Anado Bay in the early days after the hurricane. I've seen a lot more of these people's videos from entertainers, you know, Shaggy and Beanie Man, Ramesh, the Angel, but also a lot of videos from people who might not have the fame or the fortune of the entertainers, but are still doing their best to help. And more importantly, what they're doing is to let the affected people know that what they're not forgotten. But what these people have in common is that they're using the media to create a narrative of hope for those people affected and for those who care about them. Now, this government seems to lack urgency and seems to lack empathy. And a large part of that, I think, is because of your inadequate crisis communication. No one wants to hear about, quote unquote, ongoing assessment or quote unquote rebuilding or no fucking phase two when unaccounted for people are still dead and dying, people are still hungry, people are still in the middle of flooding and water rising, groundwater rising up, and all these things happening. Now, I don't know any of these public servants personally, and some of them might be wonderful people. Also, big up to the JCF and the JDF for doing your part. But part of the government leadership, part of being leadership of a government, and this includes an opposition as well, is to create an atmosphere of hope and comfort when the people need it most. No, we all know that logistically, rebuilding will take some time and effort. I think most people are aware of that. But whether the storm was category 1 or category 5 or any other national crisis or emergency, if you're in part of the leadership of government, you must always lead with the love of the people first and the care for their well being. You must always speak to them clearly and often and not condescendingly. Get the messages to them however you can. And change your strategy if necessary to account for the situation such that it is not the situation that you've planned for if that particular situation doesn't materialize the way you expected it. Always, to finally, always put yourselves in their shoes. Empathy and leadership means you actively understand and you're being responsive to people's needs because you understand and you can feel their pain. Man, scolding the people doesn't help. Telling them to be patient definitely doesn't fucking help. You do that, you come across as callous and insensitive. Besides, government badness cannot fix Melissa's sadness. Personally, I have given to the relief efforts and I've also given to family members and those who I can contact within my family who are still in Jamaica. Some family members, I still don't know if they're well being. And in the coming months, I will do more for strangers or people I don't know because they're in need. They're in need, need of help on the island. And if I can do more for folks, I will continue to do so in the months and years to come. These are just the words of one Jamaican. Many people might not share my perspective, but whether we agree on this or not, I hope we can all agree that Jamaica, land we love, that accord.